And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you much for being here. Thank you for sticking with me, Duke CT, and everything else. And don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. So, WE nostalgia, and of course you had you know, here you go, the 2010s collective versus the Judgment Day, Cena, Sheamus, and such. And I'm like, fine. It is Cena's last go around. It is his last thing. His last Monday Night Raw ever. I'm like, okay, sure. And then you get like I said, Nikki Bella is the number one contender of a women's world championship main event scene where everyone is busy. No one's actually doing. This is the definition of a feud. There is no one else, and this is why Nikki Bella is there is because of the theme, 2010s nostalgia. The Bella twins. And in fact, Brie Bella has been, saying she want to have one last run. So that means, you know what that means? More nostalgia. This is, again, they don't have any new stars. They don't have anything else coming up from NXT or what have you. They're busy with War Games because we have to fill up that stuff. Gosh, it's just, no, you need to have a strong women's uh title thing. And what do we have? It's just Nikki Bella and Stephanie here, and who's taking on Jade again? I don't know. No one cares. And then you have this one, Dolph Ziggler, the return of Dolph Ziggler taking on Solo Sikoa. And I like the fact that Dolph Ziggler was getting so much love and probably a lot more stuff than Gunther's return. I'm not kidding you. Yeah, Ziggler, he's fine, but yeah, it comes back 2010s nostalgia. All they have is this nostalgia for these past wrestlers, and fine, like Sosako won, which is fine, but you had to bring these people here. Then you have Charlotte Flair, the War Games. I don't really care. Maxine Dupree winning against Becky Lynch in a really decent match, and again, 2010s nostalgia. AJ Lee skips right to Becky Lynch. So she lost her championship. So then, at least the championship will not go to AJ Lee. So, that's fine to say. But then it goes right back again. Nostalgia. And that title belt's going to be right back to look, some people like Maxine Dupree, and I don't want to be the person to stomp on their dream, but she's not going to be one. After that win is going to be the peak of her reign, and that championship is going to go right down to the where the U.S. championship was. It was going to be right down to the bottom of the barrel. And now here's this one. This pissed me off. Javon Evans, do you know what I knew? And I watched this today, and I didn't realize that. They gave Javon the jobber entrance. That I was like, you gave this man the jobber entrance. Like, they didn't even let him go. We didn't see him walk in or what have you. He just like not tied, nothing. It's like, hey, he's not already in the ring. And then they give Gunther, oh, he comes back to his old theme. Yay, it's just NXT UK. Remember that? It's all nostalgia. The mask that this 38-year-old dude who has had the most, after his Intercontinental Championship run, had one of the most terrible World Heavyweight title runs. Possibly, until Jey Uso, but at least Jey Uso's run was at least short. Gunther was absolutely terrible. I know some people don't want to hear that, but yeah, Gunther is terrible. He has been completely ruined and became just a complete, just he is just there. He's not special. He's not or they were chanting while the match was going on. They were chanting, green, green shirt guy, t-shirt. They were chanting t-shirt stuff, and they're chanting Y2J. They don't care about Gunther. The crowd doesn't care. And the only time that crowd actually cared was when John Evans was actually doing some really good moves and building himself up. That's what happened. When Javon Evans actually started doing some moves, when he actually was doing stuff that people were like, oh, we might do something. Oh, the crowd was right there. And what WWE do? Nah, yeah, screw you, kid. Screw you. You're not getting anything. You're going to be right back to NXT. Tag team with Leon Slater. Beat the terrible Dark State. Who cares? Who cares, right? I mean, this person could have been. This is a star-making performance. This could have been, and like, oh, it's a star. Why can't he just win? Why can't he just go out there, beat Gunther, beat everyone else, and you have a new. And John Cena wants to do something with new young stars. Here's a new young star. There you go. He's a new Intercontinental champion. There you go. New Intercontinental champion. Cena wins. Lol. No, but Javon Evans wins. And, yeah, Cena wins against Mysterio. He doesn't need that Intercontinental title. Javon Evans beats him. You can have a story of John Evans. Heck, you can have him beat Mysterio and such and be like, I beat you. I did something that you could never do. Beat John Cena. There's your young rivalry and such. There you go. Easy, breezy, you're done. But instead, Gunther comes in. Gunther goes up and wins. And I don't care. And I'm tired of seeing this stuff here. It is just this nostalgia for NXT, nostalgia for NXT's past, nostalgia for NXT UK that failed spectacularly. With Hunter now doing the same thing with NXT, but yet instead of having NXT logo, it's TNA, it's AAA, and everything else. Tell me when I'm telling lies. I'm just it's just you have the opportunity for building greatness, and instead you just say Gunter wins and everything else. And then we get to the main event here, the big statement of Roman Reigns joins Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and the Usos in the War take on Brock Lesnar, nostalgia, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Division, Drew McIntyre, and Logan Paul. Because hey, we need to have it's kind of funny that it reminds me of it reminds me of a Survivor Series back in 2017, where the only young guy that was there was Strowman. He was 34. Everyone was over 35. Look, let's see. How old? Let's see. Uh, the only young people on this whole thing, the young people, there's two. Braun Breaker and Logan Paul, who are probably. How old is Logan Paul? I gotta see. How old is Logan Paul? I know he's under 30. No, he's 30. Logan Paul is 30. So you have two people in the War Games match, and they're on the villain side. They are under 30. And if Seth Rollins was 100%, he would be like, he would be right there. Seth Rollins would have been 100%, and he would be like, instead of, Logan Paul, it would be, Brock, it would be only one who is under 30 or 30. Because Roman Reigns, he's up there. Cody is like over 40. Punk is he's coming to the 50. And the Usos are like, what, 39, 40? Nostalgia, 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 and nostalgia. And nostalgia. Drew McIntyre. He's part of that 2010s roster too. Yeah, he is. And yeah. And now we go back to Brock and Roman over and over again. It's just this long, pointless. I am sick to death of this stuff. I am sick of this nostalgia baiting. I am sick of WE doing this whole thing of not like and say, oh, it's great. No, Hunter has no good ideas. He has no good ideas. And while he's having all these no ideas, all he's been going out being an old politician, legitimately going where Trump and his old White House and everything else is, trying to buddy up. with that failure. Oh, by the way, I wonder how that partnership is going to go right now with all this other stuff, calling the Democratic Party like traitors and everything else, like he wants to kill them or whatever. Which is Trump saying, yeah, Trump said that. Trump said that type of stuff, saying you know saying, "Oh, these Democrats saying, don't follow these illegal," which is good. If it's an illegal order, you should not follow it. Democrats officials saying don't follow illegal orders, that's good. And then it's just like Trump saying, "Oh, these are seditious and they should be brought to death." And then over at Truth Social, which is one of another firestorms that he's saying and everything else. Meanwhile, people seem to forget about January 6th or what have you, which is just the hypocrisy and the outright just the just cognitive dissonances and everything else. But that's just you know white supremacy and everything else there. Oh, yeah, everybody, and I include Sean. Yeah, I like Michael Hickenbottom. I'll get rid of him too. NXT has been pretty much been coasting for a long ass time. Too much coasting, coasting on his you know like his deal with with TNA and everything else, not really doing it much to elevate new stars, but they just be using Oba Fente, Trick Williams, the guys who should have been on the main roster. You know, like honestly, Trick Williams should have been on the main roster this year. Same as Oba Fente. That show should be Javon Evans' show. It should be his time. Instead, I don't know why you Ricky Saints down there. Heck, Blake Monroe, who just made was one of the biggest stars. Why is she on NXT? She should be on the main roster. There should be a ton of these people should be on the main roster right now. Instead, no, they're just slimming the NXT, waiting, only getting paid for $30,000. Javon Evans lost 20 times this year. And Trick Williams have been lost. Well, Trick Williams at least had that TNT Championship run, which included such stuff as him getting punked out by the Undertaker. That led to absolutely nothing. Yeah, I'm not. I don't just ah. And this company is full of bloat and nostalgia. It is going to come crashing down. It's already seeing it too. You had like that recent stuff that happened on um SmackDown where the tickets were like only like 6,000 or 5,000 and such. Well, um, there was like they didn't sell over 10,000 the 10,000 tickets before, and I'm like people say it's Halloween. Oh, it's like no, the show's mid, and when Cena's gone and they're gonna replace him with Chris Jericho, which is gonna be a fun time, more nostalgia. Those stuff, and those ticket prices are getting up there, which is cost like just saw the Black Friday deal for WrestleMania tickets. Man, there's a ticket right there for $5,000. I'm like, no, and that's for the mid seats. I'm like, man, it's no. He was spending $5,000. I'm not spending $5,000 over and go to Vegas or what have you. The max I spent was like $200, and that was for front row an AEW show. And I never spent anything above that. I will not spend above over $200 or something like that, unless it's comped. There's not going to be anywhere near sitting in the front row. All right. And like I said, this whole stupid, moronic, booking committee they have, not really pressing new stars, having only nostalgia acts. And I will not be surprised when Kamala Hayes fails and will be released in years, and they're gonna blame him about him and everything else, even though he's been one of their loyal people and everything else. In fact, what was his most notable thing? After Andrade in that series that looked like it was going to elevate him. Instead, he's been just tag team with the Miz, fade away. He was in the main event and doing the 6-7 memes and everything else, doing absolutely nothing. The Miz came back. They have a feud, and I don't care. Both are villains and heels. They have no real connection with their characters at all. Terrible management. right? WWE and everything else. They all live by nostalgia. Just nostalgia for just like, we don't really care. We don't need new young stars. We got Johnson. We're still selling out. Who cares? But eventually it's going to stop. And, and when that whole Trump stuff backfires, and it is going to backfire, a lot of, gosh, the whole thing. Linda McMahon, who can't even, doing this stupid spelling stuff, being the secretary of the, education and such, just doing a terrible job of that. She's it's just too many of these grifters and people who finally get into power who have no idea how to manage power. And when he falls down, and it will, that will be a complete collapse, and you're going to see a reckoning. And I guarantee you, it is not going to be a pretty thing. And I think WE, TKO, and all that stuff will be in the crossroads, especially Dana White and everything else. Their peak, man, I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of retribution. And I talk about that crappy 2020 Antifa like stupid stable WE had. Believe you me, that's just in my personal opinion, that's what's going to happen. So yeah. So yeah, it's over. Trick Williams lost 13 titles. Of course he did. And people will say, well, that helped TNA. Yeah, that's fun. You're world champion losing multiple matches and getting punked out by a retired Undertaker. That's gonna make you a number two company. That these people, man, they don't got no brains. No brains, no thought process whatsoever. But that's just my personal opinion. I want to hear you on want to hear the thoughts on there. Like, comment, subscribe, uh, all that good stuff here. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Thank you for keeping with me, Duke CT, and we'll be back next week and everything else here live on the Duke CT Lounge. Thank you so much for watching. Peace and love. I will see y'all when I see y'all later.